welcome into the show. It's Views from the Sideline. We have an audio clip we're going to play, but it just went away from me, and I have to get it right back up as soon as we started recording. It was perfect timing. Very, very solid start to the show so far.
Classic Chris move.
It is a classic Chris move. You know, what's Views from the Sideline without a Chris issue?
First technical flub of 2019.
As soon as I started the intro music, it just shot away. So, yeah, as I work on that. So, how you guys doing today?
Doing pretty
I need
good.
you guys to kind of carry this for a quick second.
Oh, my gosh. Tom Brady is the GOAT, and that's great. I mean, he's the Jordan of football. He has definitely made a name for himself to be the best. And I don't know. That guy is incredible. Nobody talked about the Patriots, and we said it before. Nobody's been talking about them, and then all of a sudden they just go out there and just put on a show. And luckily we were delighted with 2 overtime games for this playoff.
Was that the best weekend, like Sunday of football we've had in how long?
A Tom Brady 2-minute drill is the nightmare of every team.
Besides a couple of
missed
calls.
The worst nightmare of any football fan. Don't giving Tom Brady more than a minute.
All right, we have the audio queued up. Sorry about that, guys, but we'll take a quick second. Just listen to this, and then we'll jump
Here's the
right
recap
back
of the last game.
Exactly.
Nobody's talking about the Patriots, and that's scary.
This is the worst team.
Yeah, because the Patriots are bad right now.
Our conference championship Sunday, New England Patriots versus the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC.
Is it in New England or in Kansas City?
In Kansas City.
Okay.
Yeah.
What you guys got?
Patrick Mahomes is the difference in this game.
Still doubting the Patriots, are we?
I thought we learned our lesson last week.
I'm not doubting the Patriots.
And they got him back inside the 10. Kyle Van Noy with a sack for a big loss.
Bill Belichick has never had a bad defense and turned them into a great defense in the playoffs. That's never happened.
Did not have a sack against Mahomes in the first matchup this year. They get one here in the first quarter for a loss of 14.
I'm not saying they have to be a great defense. All they have to be is a good defense.
He usually has a good to really good defense, and they pick it up in the playoffs. This is a bad
This is a bad defense, but if they can pick it up to be an average to a slightly
above average, if they pick it up to average,
team,
the Chargers can still beat them by 2 touchdowns.
3rd and 1. They got to pick up the yard. And the Patriots were on him, and they're going to keep him short.
Kansas City's offense, there's no reason why they shouldn't rip apart the Patriots defense.
Okay.
9 with pressure. Again, they're going after him to take him out of field goal range. All the way back at the 37, Trey Flower. Holmes, he has the ball stripped by Van Noy, and he's able to recover it back at the 25.
Honestly, there's no reason why the Patriots, pull off a shocking blowout or anything. Right. They don't have a good defense. I've never seen, in my life, I haven't seen a Patriots team look like this. Brady has been somewhat on board with his receivers.
Throws wide open Edelman. Trying to get pressure on Brady, and they get near him, and somehow it is completed.
This has been the one year he hasn't made receivers look great. His receivers have looked below average all season, but they've still been winning.
All they got to do is look great for the next 2 games. That's it.
All kinds of time for Brady to go for it. To the end zone, and it's caught for the touchdown. Philip Dorsett.
Doesn't matter. The Patriots could throw us out there at wide receiver, and we'd look good.
Picking the Chiefs.
I know you're picking the Chiefs. You're making a mistake by not trusting in Bill Belichick and Tom Brady this time of year. That's all I'm going to say. Saying you can't see it happening. The best cure for the New England Patriots is just get to the playoffs and start playing those games, because they've proved year in and year out they are just a perennial playoff team you don't want to mess with.
I mean, just then they turn it on. Finality brings focus for this team, and they know it's that time of year.
Let me just say this.
What player for the Patriots is going to play the greatest game in their entire life?
He's not going to play the greatest game in his entire life?
Because that's what they're going to have to do.
You know what, Malik?
This game.
Malik, they have the GOAT, Tom Brady.
They do.
They have one of the best coaches of all time in Bill Belichick.
Which always gives them a
have
chance.
a repertoire you can fall back on and look at.
Either way, if the Patriots are going to Atlanta, number 12 is going to have to do something really special in a really, really difficult environment.
I'm terrified I'm so afraid.
Just say what's in your heart.
Kansas City should win this game.
All right, Malik says
they
Kansas
should win
City.
this game. I want you to tell me which receiver is going to have. What's Julian Edelman doing in this game? Is he playing like 2014?
Brady fires complete. Edelman, what a catch.
Gronk hasn't looked like himself in a year or two.
Just one game, though. They only got to win one game.
Gronk literally has to turn into 2014 Gronk for them to win a shootout.
They come after Brady. He goes down the field to Gronk. Turns around, makes the catch. It's Gronk for the first down.
How much is Julian Edelman going to do in this game?
Chip with him, and throw to Edelman over the middle of the field.
Pass down the middle. Caught. Edelman holds on.
Running back's got to help, so he has time to throw. Once again, Edelman in the middle of the field.
Pocket sealed. Down the middle. Edelman again with a third down catch. To the end zone. Hello, Super Bowl. New England is heading back again for the third straight year.
I am not doubting the Patriots. I'm looking forward to next week when the Pats win by double digits against the Chiefs, and Malik's got to eat his words.
So you're just going Patriots blowout every game, including the Super Bowl?
I'm not saying it's going to be a blowout. I'm not saying it's going to be a blowout. Wow, Joe, first off,
the most incorrect thing said in that whole clip is the Patriots are going to blow out the Chiefs.
Hold on. We have to give a round of applause to Joey. Putting that together. Thank you, Joey. Not booze.
Great work, Sir Joey. Fantastic work.
He made me look really smart for that's tough.
Yeah, that was the problem though. I didn't realize that I was gonna boost Chris's ego in that clip.
Yeah, we should have thought about this before the show started.
And round of applause for Malik allowing us to use that clip. Some of those clips were out of context, just so everybody knows, but I thought it was pretty funny and it matched up pretty well. But now,
all good fun.
From now on, if anybody messes up, they might get clipped. I might clip myself.
It's a precedent. Well, you have to.
Yeah.
But anyways.
But I don't make any wrong choices.
Never have. Championship Sunday. We talked about this right before this clip started. Best Sunday football ever?
No.
Not ever, but it's one of the best I've seen. It's one of the best I've seen by far. I don't think there's any doubt. I mean, 2 overtime games, all the controversy, it's everything you'd want in football games for teams to go to a Super Bowl.
And it was controversial calls in both of the games. And a lot of people, a lot of star athletes, a lot of celebrities calling out the officials on social media, and it was crazy.
I think this is a worse loss than last year's Chiefs loss, specifically for Chiefs fans.
That's
because
tough, yeah.
This team is a lot better than last year's team because of Patrick Mahomes. It's even worse because how explosive they are bit them and ruined them in the end. Because they gave Tom Brady 2 minutes. Because of how explosive their offense was, they scored quick and gave Tom Brady 2 minutes. And then they didn't get the coin toss in overtime, which I believe the Kansas City Chiefs would have scored a touchdown if they got that coin toss in overtime, but just bad luck of the draw. It's heartbreaking.
So, Joe, why do you think this wasn't one of the best weekends ever for football?
Just some of the the controversial call in Saints Rams. Well, it's not even a controversy. It was just a missed call. That's always a big
with the officials
thing.
Staring right at it too.
Yeah, and then even for the officials to tell Sean Payton that they missed it is pretty heartbreaking. So for me, like not getting something right and getting not necessarily the wrong team in there, because obviously the Rams still played really well and they had to win in overtime in the end, but it just kind of a demoralizing way to end the game, I guess. Kansas City and New England, that was an exciting game as well. Kansas City definitely had their opportunities. They had a man in the neutral zone towards the end of the game on a Tom Brady interception, which would have ended the game. So there's some mistakes that Kansas City made on themselves, but I think that game was actually really exciting.
How bad does NFL officiating look this week?
Oh, it's some of the worst. That's one of the worst.
Is it a black eye for the league?
Yeah, to me it is. It's one of the worst missed calls in NFL history.
Yeah, now they're debating whether or not to be able to review interference calls.
Exactly. But I still
or non-interference calls, because there was no call on the field.
Right, but I'm thinking like if somebody felt like they could review it and they like somebody could challenge it or something.
So I'm saying though is like there's no flag on the field, but they want them to look at it. They want them to look. Okay.
Yeah, like if they feel like they need to look at it. I don't know how they'll shape the rule, but that's what they're looking into.
There are also people trying to get the game replayed, which is wild, and in the rules,
everybody,
which is insane. It's actually in the rules
like we hear this,
that it could happen.
Wait, really? It's in the rules?
Yesterday, Michael Thomas tweeted. He tweeted a specific rule in the NFL
saw that,
rule book,
but I didn't.
And then the comment under put the page that has the rule, and the commissioner of the NFL can have he can have the game replayed.
Really?
If something like ridiculous happens, it can happen, but I'm sure it's something that won't ever be used. Used.
That's crazy. I had no idea about that.
Yeah, but I'm not on the train of everybody saying that cost the Saints the game.
Well, of course, it's never the last thing that happens.
Exactly.
That's just what we talk about the next day.
But they got up 13-0 and then went flat from then on almost. They should have been able to finish the Rams from that point on. Even though the Rams, obviously, they're one of the best teams in the league. They're going to the Super Bowl. But you get up 13-0 on a team, you have all that momentum, and then you just bottom out. Questionable play calls from Sean Payton. The Taysom Hill plays where it kind of looked like he was just trying to flex his offensive genius and show that he can score anyway on anybody. It was kind of weird. They signed Des Bryant and Brandon Marshall earlier in the season for a reason. Michael Thomas is their go-to guy. After Michael Thomas, it's question marks. So you could see why they went flat because they don't have several offensive options. But for you to go up 13-0, that obviously shows you had momentum and you had something rolling.
So let's continue.
Fell apart.
Let's just break down the NFC Championship game, and then we'll go into the AFC. So kind of piggybacking on what Malik just said, Joe, what did you see from the Saints losing to the Rams on Sunday?
Yeah, it was kind of exactly what Malik said, and they just kind of fell flat. And they kind of let the Rams back into it. I thought the Saints had all the momentum with the start of the game. And you would think with the Saints having Alvin Kamara and Mark Ingram that they would have run all over the Rams, even though the Rams have a super good defense. But I just felt like I didn't see those two guys a whole lot in the Saints game, which is weird because that's, who they use all the time. And yeah, Michael Thomas has a heavy workload and that's hard, but at the same time, like Drew Brees has done good with little talent at wide receiver. He's similar to Tom Brady where you give him some guys, maybe give him one primary guy and he can make it work. And I know the Saints had a little bit of injuries at tight end. Ben Watson was ailing, but I don't know. It was kind of disappointing just to see them fall flat in the second half and then even in overtime. But, I mean, the Rams made it to the Super Bowl, and you got to credit to them for taking advantage.
That Greg Zuerlein field goal in overtime is one of the most impressive field goals I think I've seen.
He could hit it from
life.
70.
That was an absolute rocket. It was a bomb. Once he hit it, it was right down the middle. And the Hecker, what's the position? The one that catches it for the field goal. Like, you snap it to the guy, and he sets it up for the field goal kicker to kick it.
The backup quarterback.
Basically, but I'm pretty sure he's the punter. He fumbled it a little bit, so it could have been messed up. Zuerlein, it was an absolute bomb.
That's why.
It could have went 70.
You know his nickname, right? You don't know his nickname? The Leg of Zeus.
That's a great nickname.
I know.
That's instantly one of the best nicknames in the NFL.
Yeah. Now, I don't want to kind of like beat this topic to death, but I feel like we wouldn't be doing it justice without breaking it down even more because of just how newsworthy it is. Was that pass interference missed call, was that one of the worst missed calls over the past decade in the NFL?
It's the worst.
I think that
it's easily the worst.
I think this is the worst missed call last 20 years.
A lot of people were saying since the Tuck rule.
Yeah.
And this is worse than the Tuck rule.
You think this is worse?
He hit him, and he almost targeted him.
There's a lot of different aspects of that play that people were talking about. Like, you could have called maybe 3 different things.
The ball wasn't near the receiver yet. Knocked him out. It's obvious. That's one of the weirdest missed calls that almost leads to conspiracy theories. Of
That one right
how
there,
do you miss a
yeah.
call like that?
Yeah.
That's almost impossible to miss. The referees that missed that on that side of the field, their job should be on the line.
And especially, of course, what also leads to conspiracy theories is it's the Los Angeles Rams that benefit of it. LA, of course, they would want that market in the Super Bowl. More marketable team, more money.
They also said that it's karma for Bountygate.
I didn't
Yeah,
hear
a lot
that
of people
one.
were saying
Yeah,
That's a good
I've
one,
heard
too.
people say that.
Did the Rams win this game, or did the officials give it to them?
The Rams won it.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
they won it.
But if
too.
that
The way they played in
if
that
that
second,
call's not made, though, Saints win.
Right, but it ended up being that, the Saints got another chance and they got to go to overtime. So the Rams ultimately won it. But, I mean, New Orleans was kind of, they lost it. Like, I don't know. It's hard to explain because the refs definitely gave it away. But at the same time, the Rams did win it because it went into overtime. The Saints got another chance.
For sure. Moving on, AFC Championship game, the most exciting in my opinion. Patriots beating up on Kansas City 37-30. We're not beating up. 37-31 in overtime. The first question on my show sheet right now, how about them Pats, Malik? The doubt. I just want to hear what you thought of this game.
well, I didn't see a lot of the first quarter. When I first started watching, was it 14-0 Patriots? I'm pretty sure.
I think so.
Yeah, to start the game.
So yeah, I didn't know what had happened, but I was surprised with the start. And the Patriots offensive line, they deserve unbelievable amounts of credit. Tom Brady
Incredible.
hasn't been sacked in the playoffs so far.
Here's
That is insane, which gives his receivers more opportunity to find open spots.
something that people don't realize. A great quarterback takes care of his offensive line. Tom Brady sends these guys on vacations, gives them gifts left and right, is appreciative every single game. I think that goes a long way, and I think a lot of people overlook that. Why is an offensive line going to block for somebody they don't like or they don't care for? Yes, it's their job, but there's not as much passion to it, Sorry to cut you off. I just wanted to get that in.
If you give any quarterback that much time in the pocket, they're going to find the open receiver. But if you give Tom Brady open time in the pocket he's going to put it in a spot where the receiver can catch it and most likely will. Julian Edelman gets tons of credit for making a whole bunch of tough catches. He almost messed up the game with that, where he dropped the ball in the fourth quarter and it was a pick. He almost messed it up. But a lot of big catches from him. Gronkowski, he only had 3 or 4 catches, didn't he? He didn't have a lot of catches, but
yeah,
the ones
they're
had,
all down the stretch.
yeah, the red zone catches, throwing it up, using that big body. Gronk still had some left to get them where they needed to go. James White has just he's a glue piece for that offense. He's not the superstar. He's not going to break a game wide open. But if you look at the stat sheet, he gives you 11 catches, like 85 yards, maybe 2 rushing touchdowns. His impact on the game, it can't be understated. He's almost become the go-to guy for Tom Brady, and his level of play never goes down. He's dependable, great hands, tough runner. He gets it done always. And Belichick out coaches Andy Reid once again. Poor Andy Reid.
Yeah,
once again.
Belichick owns that matchup.
Yeah.
Joe, I can't remember. Last week, did you pick the Patriots or did you pick the Chiefs?
No, I picked the Chiefs because I didn't want to see the Patriots in the Super Bowl again, and I would rather have Kansas City.
What was your take from this one?
It was pretty exciting. I definitely knew, like, when you give the Patriots 2 minutes, it wasn't looking good because the Chiefs didn't really have any answers on defense for the Patriots. We thought it was going to be the other way around, that the Patriots wouldn't have any answers for Kansas City.
And turned into that in the second half.
Yeah.
Neither team could really.
Right. There was no stops being made, so it ended up being whoever had the ball last. And the Patriots benefited from that. And, whenever they had a third down play, a big play that they needed, they went to either Julian Edelman, or if Gronk was one-on-one, Tom Brady just lobbed it up to Gronk, and he got it almost every time. You had a guy like Eric Berry guarding him, and there's just nothing you can do. And that's really tough. But, I think New England just played it really well. And like you said, they protected Tom Brady, which is incredible to me because
He's been getting hit a lot this season.
the other way around, like Patrick Mahomes had to run all over the place to get any throws off, and then
he made some incredible throws on the run too.
right. But then Tom Brady's just sitting back there in the pocket for every time. There's no pressure. And that just makes it easy on him because, eventually the defense is going to break down and you're going to find somebody open. So tips to New England, but Kansas City definitely had their chances and they kind of squashed it.
Now, heading into our playoff preview, when we were starting to make our picks, we were making our Super Bowl picks for these playoffs. My thing when I picked the Patriots to make it to the Super Bowl was I thought their defense could be good enough. Malik felt otherwise. Has it been good enough, or has it been mostly the offense, Malik?
It's that first game against the Chargers, that defense was fantastic, but I also think it's mainly an element of Belichick and Anthony Lynn. It's such a difference in experience and knowledge, and Belichick's a top 3 coach in NFL history. So I should have realized that he would have the complete upper hand in that game, defensive schematics and all. I'm surprised that they've been able to keep it up. Even that first half, they played really good against Patrick Mahomes and them. They had to shake off the rust to get going in that second half. The Chiefs did. So I'm surprised about how they've been able to hold up in the playoffs.
If Brady wins the Super Bowl in a couple weeks, does he go out on top?
I think he should.
I think he should.
Do you
retire.
think he does, though?
He's a pretty smart guy.
He said
talked
he wants
about
to play until he's 45, which I'm sure he will try to. But from a storyline standpoint, you make your name winning your first Super Bowl against the Rams. You retire winning the Super Bowl. Come on.
And
that's
the problem is-
that's movie stuff.
But the problem is too, give him a couple more years, he could definitely win another one.
He could.
There's no signs of him stopping,
Yeah.
but it would be nice to know, guaranteed you can go out on top. Another question I want to pose that I've heard a couple of people talk about. If the Patriots win the Super Bowl, is Tom Brady the greatest athlete of all time?
It matters how you define athlete.
Right. If you're going based off true athleticism athlete, there's no way. But just as a professional athlete and
The
maybe
passion,
by winning and passion and the storyline maybe.
You can make a really solid argument for it.
Yeah.
That's as far as I want to go with that until we see if he actually wins it.
He gets bumped up even higher because of his athletic shortcomings.
Right. I would think so too.
Because he's not that great of an athlete, but he's this great of an athlete.
He described that perfectly.
Exactly.
He's that great of an athlete when he's not that great of an athlete.
Yeah.
Let's move into a short preview of the Super Bowl. We'll get way more into it and dissect way more storylines next week when it's really Super Bowl week. But the matchup is, like we've said, the LA Rams versus the New England Patriots. The one matchup Joey did not want to see.
Yeah.
So he got it. It's in Atlanta. I'm just gonna hit you guys with it. Who you got in the Super Bowl?
The Rams. I still don't want the Patriots
I need-
to win.
You want them to win?
No, I don't.
Oh.
So I'm going to pick the Rams. And I think that the Rams have a chance. As we saw, Kansas City could not get pressure on Tom Brady. The Rams have just as good of a front line as Kansas City does. Kansas City was one of the better sacking teams in the league, but the Rams also have Aaron Donald and Sue. Not even
Sue's,
go there. I
he's
can't
played the
speak
best
today.
football of his career the past few games.
Yeah, and the Rams just have a really good defense, and I think they're more well-rounded on defense. And then one of the things that New England had trouble with was the running back. Kansas City let their running back run all over, and the Rams have Todd Gurley and C.J. Anderson, which are two really good backs. Todd Gurley, Pro Bowl, super talented. I would just like to see the Rams win. And I don't know why. Probably just because it's against the Patriots, but
Malik, can you just pick the Rams for me? Make me sound
Listen,
smart.
The storyline of this game has become a lot more interesting to me over the past few days as I've been thinking. You have the young, up-and-coming genius coach that looks like he's nipping on the heels of every other coach in the league. He's about to take over. And you have the top 3 coach of all time who's been here, won the Super Bowls, knows exactly what he's doing. I'm going with the Patriots because I feel like there are gonna be a few moments in this game. If it's close, Belichick, I feel like he's gonna outsmart Sean McVay a few times. Sean McVay could also slightly get into what Sean Payton tried to do against the Rams, or he might try to flex his offensive genius, show off a little bit, try to throw the Patriots off, and Belichick will be ready for whatever's coming. So, it's Brady.
Malik, I'm glad
Edelman has picked it up in the playoffs. That offensive line, Sue and Donald are going to get to Brady a few times, and if they get a few good hits on Brady, that could change everything. But I like how the Patriots they've gotten better each game, and I'm going to pick the Patriots.
I'm glad. Welcome to our side. I'm not a Patriots fan, but they make me sound smart. So, yeah, I'm locking in the Patriots. Why get off the train? I don't understand. But, yeah, we'll dive into this way more next week. Early preview to the Super Bowl. Now let's kind of transition into some news in the NFL surrounding your Detroit Lions. They made a hire this week. They hired Darrell Bevel as the offensive coordinator. First reaction to the hire, guys. Bleh.
Joey, you can go with your first reaction because you told us how you felt instantly, and it was a pretty funny comment.
Well, I mean,
although you can't base him off of one play,
right.
But
He's
that
a former, if anybody doesn't know, he's former Seattle Seahawks offensive coordinator. So he was in the Super Bowl with the Seahawks, and being the offensive coordinator, and the Seahawks being at the 1-yard line with Marshawn Lynch, and they decided to pass it. He is a part of that offense. So that's what concerns me. He didn't run Marshawn Lynch at the 1-yard line. The Lions don't have Marshawn Lynch, so we don't have to worry about that all that much. But it is a little bit odd. Granted, I'm all for having a new offensive coordinator. See if we can get something new, get something cooking. Because obviously, I mean, he got that team to the Super Bowl. That offense was pretty good. Granted, their defense is good too. But I think in that Super Bowl appearance, the Seahawks offense was a little bit better. But
see, the thing that's odd to me is why wait, what was it? It's 2 weeks to hire an offensive coordinator when you hire a guy that's been on the market for over a year and hasn't been tied to many jobs, if at all. I think he may have interviewed for one job over the past year and a half. It seems like a reach to me. His offense is usually run-based, which is ironic that he passed on that one play. But in today's NFL, I'm not sure that's going to work. This is another reason to me why the Detroit Lions are the Detroit Lions. They make hires like this that are not going to benefit the team whatsoever. And I hope I sound stupid and I hope I sound dumb next year if they somehow win 10, 11 games, make it to the playoffs and have a crazy run. But I know that's not going to happen. So, yeah, this was a head scratcher to me. Didn't like the move. Didn't like how it was done. 2 weeks to hire a guy like this when there are other people on the market. And they didn't even... I'm getting myself worked up. I'm going to calm down. But it just was a head-scratching situation that only the Lions could pull off. So, yeah, that's your Detroit Lions update. Fun stuff.
Malik, you got an opinion?
I think it's an okay hire right now. I'm not going to go with I like it a lot. I'm not going to go with it sucks. It's an okay hire right now. What he did with Russell Wilson is very impressive to me. He started out, he ran a lot of read option his rookie year. He broke the rookie passing record for touchdowns also. Years go along, you get rid of the read option, you become more of a pocket passer. Russell Wilson progresses. Also, Jermaine Kearse, consistent receiver. Doug Baldwin becomes a Pro Bowl receiver. That offense develops chemistry, and it's all under Darrell Bevel. He helped make that offense what it was, and it progressed over the years because of the decisions he helped to make.
Can I ask you a question then? Why, since he made these players into what they are today, why did he not get much attention, if any attention at all, on the coaching market this offseason?
Well, there's always inside stuff that we won't know.
I'm just asking the questions.
Yeah, there's always insider stuff between organizations.
Is it insider stuff, or is it the dude is just not a good offensive coordinator for today's NFL?
What if we go and draft Kyler Murray?
I would like the hire
That's
a little
not
bit better.
Similar to Russell Wilson.
But I would like the hire a little bit better because he would have a young quarterback. He's not going to change Matthew Stafford.
Nobody's going to change Matthew Stafford.
No one's changing Matthew Stafford.
And
He's not going to make that change.
In that case, it could be a bad hire. It could be because we know Matthew Stafford's not going to change.
And I feel like the biggest thing on his resume with helping players improve was Russell Wilson, how he made him improve as a player. But Stafford's not doing that under Darrell Bevell, you know? I don't know. Bad hire. I'll say it now. Let's move on before it gets real dark in here real quick. Wait. It is more depressing news. Michigan spoiled their opportunity to be the number one in the rankings.
I like this.
You like this? They lose at Wisconsin.
I love it, actually.
Hold on, they lose at Wisconsin 64-54. Was this good for Michigan in the long run, Malik?
I love it. I absolutely love it. In the last 4 or 5 minutes, John Beilein sat back and crossed his arms and just put his foot up and just watched everything happen. Teams that go undefeated get egos. They believe in the pregame, when the game was first coming on, they showed Xavier Simpson, Iggy Brasdeikis talking to the camera, coming through the tunnels. We're Michigan. Iggy showing off, flexing. Those last 4 or 5 minutes, shut up. Let them mess up. Let them figure it out. Make all the mistakes. Humble the team. You stick within the system. Iggy, you made all those freshman mistakes. Get back to practice, clean it up. We watch film. Everybody gets it. I'm happy this happened.
I'm 100% on board with you, Malik. Everything you said there, I totally agree with you. Joe, what's your take?
I'm pretty disappointed just because I wanted to see them go farther. I didn't think that.
I mean, it's not like they're not going farther, but
right. But the way that Wisconsin
you wanted them
had
to
been
go
struggling,
undefeated longer.
Yeah, I wanted them to have a more hype matchup, I guess, with Michigan State.
Plus,
I mean,
Beilein is like 2-14 in Madison, so Wisconsin has never been a good place for them.
Yeah,
but it's funny that Malik brings up Iggy and Xavier Simpson, who I thought were the two worst players in that game.
Xavier had a solid game.
Not in the last 5 minutes.
Oh yeah, nobody showed up in the last 5 minutes. Nobody did.
Iggy having 0 points. Xavier Simpson looked like last year's Xavier Simpson in the final 5 minutes, making dumb decision after dumb decision and missing layups and little things like that. I know it's not all his fault. It's kind of a whole mental team breakdown, but
because he's the leader, he probably felt like he needed to take over. But
he's not that guy. And when is he gonna realize that? He tried to do that last year and it didn't work. And that's why I liked him this year, is because he realized, I thought, that he's not the guy.
Well,
but there's other
he is the guy in terms of being
team.
the leader, and he showed in that North. If he gets hot, he can have a really big offensive game. But when the team is down, I'm not mad that as the leader you want to take over and try to do what you have to do. That doesn't upset me at all.
I think as the leader, he's got to know what his role is and to get his guy and to rally his guys. He's more of that point guard. He's not like the finishing point guard. He's the guy that's supposed to keep everybody in line and get everybody together. But I don't know. I mean, again, I can't fault him. The whole team just fell apart, and it was awful to watch. Just I get where you like that it's humbling for a team like this, but at the same time,
it was a disappointing game, definitely. Yeah.
As you wind down in the season, to have this kind of game is not concerning, but I don't know. I just wish it would have been cleaner. If they were going to lose, I wish it would have been a cleaner loss. Like, this was just kind of ugly towards the end.
Do you guys see them losing again?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
At this point, yes.
They're probably going to... I didn't say this earlier. I sent this to you, too, after the game ended. 2013, they made it to the national championship. They went 4-5 in the Big Ten. Last year, they made it to the national championship. They went 5-4 in the Big Ten. The Big Ten is a rough and rugged stretch that can eat you up if you're not good enough. If you can come out being improved and being tough and strong out of the Big Ten schedule, I'm fine. If they end up with 4 losses, I wouldn't be mad. I really wouldn't. There's some good teams in that conference.
So, new rankings come out. Michigan's, they spoiled their opportunity. They would have been number 1, more than likely. They dropped to number 5. Is that too low for just 1 loss at Wisconsin, which is a tough place to play?
I think that's fine because Duke had that big win against Virginia. Virginia was still
that was honestly, I was surprised by that win. I thought Virginia was going to win that game.
Virginia was in the game the entire time, so I think they still deserve a 3 or 4 ranking. I think it's a fine placement, especially how Michigan lost and how bad they looked in those last 4 or 5 minutes.
You're cool with it, Joe?
Yeah, I'm not too particular on that stuff. Gonzaga maybe, but they always get the benefit of the doubt.
And then MSU stays at number 6. Are they closing the gap on Michigan, with Michigan kind of sinking a little bit?
I think so. With the Maryland win last night, and they looked good in that game with Nick Ward not doing anything. I think Michigan stays right there. If Michigan falters a little bit and Michigan State keeps winning, even if Michigan keeps winning, Michigan State has bigger games going on, so they could potentially leapfrog Michigan, I think, a little bit.
Well, they're basically going to play the same teams.
Right, but I'm just saying, like, Michigan State has a tougher stretch of teams at this point.
Oh, okay.
Like, going up. I'm mostly saying, like, leading up to their matchup against each other.
It'll really come down to the head-to-head matchups to decide which team is.
But do you think right now State's closing the gap on Michigan, Malik?
Oh yeah, I think if Michigan and Michigan State played right now, it would be close. I think Michigan State might pull it out.
Okay. You talked about the Maryland game. They won that one. They got past Nebraska too, 70-64. That was a closer game. Any either of you catch that one at all?
Yeah,
I saw a little bit.
What did you think of State? Do you think they played at a decent pace, or do you think they kind of struggled a little bit down the stretch there?
Well, they had their struggles, but the fact that they got the win is good. Michigan got blown out by Nebraska last year. Nebraska sneaks up on a lot of teams in the Big Ten. Getting a win at Nebraska is good. No matter how much people say they're a team that doesn't make the tournament a lot or they're not very strong, they're another good Big Ten team, which means you could lose to them any night. So pulling out a tough win in that one was good.
Will either of you guys say right now that State is better than Michigan?
I don't think so.
No.
Joe's
not yet.
You were leaning there though.
I think they're close.
Not yet.
I think it's close, but I think
What does it take? Does it take State to beat them in the head-to-head matchup for you to say they're better?
probably, but I don't know. It's hard to say because both these teams are really similar in a way that they have a lot better depth than we thought going into the season, and at any night, like somebody can kind of step up for either one of these teams. So if somebody can get maybe a consistent bench scorer, maybe that'll put them over the top.
It's still hard for me to compare the teams because honestly, for me, there's a talent difference between Michigan and Michigan State. You have Iggy Brazdeikis. There's a chance he might try to go to the league after his freshman year. Charles Matthews, probably a pro. Jordan Poole, probably going to be a pro next year. Michigan State, you just see a bunch of hardworking guys that fit roles, 3-point shooters. Cassius Winston is overall good, really good point guard. Nick Ward, post player.
He's a good college player.
Yeah. You have a whole bunch of really good college guys that fit roles and fit within a system. So I think it's hard comparing the two teams.
The problem is I said the same thing about Draymond Green. So now it's hard for me to doubt Michigan State players in pros. Granted,
Draymond is an exception.
Right.
He's a big exception.
They've had exceptions, but I always thought there's no way that Draymond is going to be a good player in the NBA. I thought there's no possible way he takes too many bad shots. He tries to lead maybe too much. He's undersized. I don't know where he's going to fit. And it's worked out. Granted, he's been put in the perfect system for it. But at this point, like, I don't doubt Michigan State players anymore necessarily, and that's just from
I thought
personal.
Adrian Payne was going to be a good NBA player.
Right. I mean, there's definitely been those guys.
Kalen Lucas made it to the NBA after, 8 years of
Deontay
trying.
Davis, he's gone. So there's plenty of them that haven't made it. But I'm just saying those guys like
Jaren Jackson's a stud.
Like Nick Ward is a really good player for this team. So that's where I kind of hold off. I do think he might struggle in the NBA, but you never know.
Yeah. Well, let's move on to the pros, guys.
Detroit basketball.
Play that, and then let's not talk about the Pistons at all.
All right,
Just to be ironic.
That was your Pistons recap for the week,
Yes.
guys.
Yes.
No, but
Yes, sir.
But seriously, Pistons are bad. Like they're bad.
And what made it worse
they're
is
they're not good bad where you could get a lottery pick.
they're not good, bad in a way of they're entertaining
Exactly.
to watch either.
What made it worse is they went 500 this past week. So they didn't do anything. They didn't help themselves
They're
for a
on
lottery.
the
They
downward
didn't.
trend, so they've lost 2 straight.
I know, but they're not helping themselves. They're staying in the middle of the road where, they're close to a playoff seed, but they're way off of the lottery. And
Well, the highest seed they can get in the lottery is like 6th, 7th.
that's pretty good.
Right now, they're the 9th, I believe. I'm fine with that. Just don't make the playoffs. I want a chance at a top 3 pick. But recapping this past week, they lose to the Kings on the Buddy buzzer beater, which is pretty impressive. Kind of controversial ending there. Pistons think he double dribbled. Dwayne Casey thinks he double dribbled. The NBA says he did not double dribble. Guys, did he double dribble?
Big question. We're asking the tough questions this
We're asking the
episode.
big questions.
I don't think he did. To me, it looked like when he got through the double team, it looked like he was losing control of the ball as quickly as he could, throw it up, and it went in. I don't think he double dribbled.
Yeah, to me it was similar where it felt like he didn't have full control, so he was still kind of collecting his dribble. And I mean, in the end, the Pistons had 3 guys around him, and they just let him spin by.
And then they had the excuse of, I thought it was a double dribble, so I
Yeah.
stopped playing defense. You never stop until
Right.
the whistle
Yeah.
the whistle blows.
So either way, it was bad all around.
And then last night, they get absolutely trounced by the Wizards. Like, they did not wake up to play that game until the 4th quarter. It was just an abomination of an effort.
They played without Dre in that game, though, right?
They played without Dre against Sacramento, too.
Right, but
That doesn't mean they had no
no,
effort.
I know
First of all, I
Blake
want
or
Dre.
bust.
I want Dre out the door. The only player that's done anything for the city is Blake.
And that's because he has absolute control to he's at the peak of his prime and can do what he wants.
Blake is he's a top 10 player in the Eastern Conference.
It's just so delightful that it's taken Chris so long to finally be on my side. He's finally seen
What's
the
your
lights.
side? What's your side?
The Pistons need to trade Reggie Jackson and Andre Drummond.
Remember, I was so high on Reggie too. Remember the show where I said I'm officially over him?
The last time it looked like he cared was that year they made the playoffs. To me, that's the last time it looked like
he's been a
cared.
laughing stock ever since because everybody has noticed that Jose Calderon plays more than Reggie Jackson at the end of games.
And that's so bad because Jose is terrible.
Yeah.
Jose doesn't play hero ball.
Here's the thing that the Pistons need to do, and I think I said this last week too. We actually saw a little bit of this lineup in the Washington game. He put Dwayne Casey put Bruce Brown at point guard, Kyrie Thomas at the 2, Luke at the 3, Reggie Bullock at the 4. I won't do Reggie Bullock at the 4, and then Blake at the 5. Let the kids play.
Put Stanley at the 4 and let's do it.
Let the kids play. I mean,
Yeah, I'm cool with changing up lineups. Like I've said in the past, I'd be cool with like
Bruce
Luke
should be
being
starting
point
point
guard,
guard.
but Bruce has played pretty well with the ball in his hands.
And the
so-
Pistons have so many issues guarding the paint. They gave up 22 points in the paint in the first quarter against Washington yesterday. They scored 21 points in the first quarter. Like, put Bruce Brown at point guard, put Reggie to the bench. Who cares that he's making that much money? It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Bruce Brown is your best. Bruce and Kyrie are a really good defensive backcourt. Yeah, you're not going to score many points, but that's why you got Blake.
They're gonna play hard.
Let
It'll
the
be entertaining watching them play.
I would actually tune in to watch them because I'd like to see how the young guys play.
Yeah.
I don't have any drive to watch Reggie Jackson pound the ball to Bruce Brown, who's playing out of position at the shooting guard, to Reggie Bullock, who's playing out of position at small forward, to Andre Drummond, who will play 20% of possessions with any care whatsoever. This team is... How does Gorse think that Detroit relates to this franchise right now?
That's the
That's
point.
the
He doesn't
question.
think.
That's the question.
He just doesn't think.
You know what's even worse to me? We have lived through a point in the past 10 years where Brooklyn has gone from the most embarrassing franchise that made a horrible decision to Brooklyn being one of the most promising young teams in the NBA.
They made one of the worst trades in all of sports history.
And they got a Pistons player to do it. And the Pistons have just been stuck in
they've
mediocrity the
made it
entire
back.
time.
I will say this. Brooklyn's done a phenomenal job. Sean Marks,
Listen,
GM of the year.
I feel like
Kenny Atkinson should be in consideration for coach of the year.
I feel like they did not know this was going to happen.
well,
And
there's
Karis-
always luck.
I
There's
feel
always
I
luck.
feel like they completely expected it to tank,
Also-
but it's working somehow.
Also, D'Angelo Russell, all-star.
Their best player, Karis LeVert, is injured.
Jared Allen could be up for Defensive Player of the Year next year.
Yeah, he's got to work on his off-ball D, but yeah, he's the way he blocks shots, the way he defends the rim.
He's
it's
active.
something.
He's energetic. Yeah.
That kind of leads to my next thing too. Is the Pistons they're a bottom 5 team in the NBA. I mean, what teams are worse than the Pistons right now? Chicago,
Suns.
Cleveland, Phoenix,
New York.
not Atlanta.
New York.
The Pistons are the
New York.
team that
they're the 5th worst team in the NBA.
their finishing record will not reflect what they really are.
Yeah.
The Pistons might finish with 36, 37
yeah,
wins.
I agree with you completely.
That won't reflect
Yeah.
what that team really is. And everybody, Tom Gores will be like, Dwayne Casey's first year, solid average season. Okay. All right.
you
It's a new coach and a new system. He's got to figure it out.
We've heard all this stuff before. And
Just-
whatever.
On
I'm done.
one of ONTV's longest lasting shows, Between Terminas, Ian Weatherspoon told me Tom Gore should just sell the team. I agree with him. He won't do it, but it would be so
Of course he
wonderful
should, but
if he could just sell the team. But he won't.
Is there any chance they become sellers by the trade deadline? Is there? I want some hope. Give me some hope, Joe. Give me some hope, Malik. Is there a chance?
I'm telling
they
you,
sell?
I want to trade Andre Drummond for a first-round pick. If the Pistons can get 2 first-round picks, that would be so amazing. That would be the start.
I still feel like they're going to try to trade for another star.
I know, me
because
too.
because
I'm
Blake
so sad about it too.
because Dwayne Casey is here and Blake is here. They have no choice but to try to win.
Oh, they have a choice.
The problem
They're just
is-
choosing the wrong one.
The problem is if they try to get another star, it's going to be a mediocre star. It is not
or
going
somebody
to
past
be-
their prime.
It is not going to be a prototypical star.
Yeah.
It's going to be like you have Andre, Blake, and some other guy similar to a like an Andrew Wiggins type player,
Pistons work out a deal to get Yusuf Nurkic.
and then you're going to be
Hey,
a
if Andre's going to Portland, I don't care.
and then you're going to be one of those teams in 2K that you see where you have all these 50 overalls that are just filling up the rest of the slots. They're going to be so depth deprived that
I mean, they already are now, to be honest.
right, but that's what I'm saying. Like if you try to make another trade, they're in big trouble. I want picks. Give me picks.
Let's just please let me have fun during NBA draft night. Let me
Andre's value is only going to decline
Yeah.
from here on out.
Actually, it will increase during his last year of his deal because expiring contracts are always valuable. But
True.
that's just the business of the NBA.
I have an idea. I think the three of us should go to a Pistons game and film our reactions, our thoughts, everything, and put it on the channel.
We should.
Let's go to a game.
All right.
Let's put ourselves through that torture. Who is the most likely Piston to be dealt at the deadline? If you guys had to pick one Piston,
The no-brainer is Reggie
which Reggie?
Jackson.
He's the
Honestly,
most likely to
I would-
be traded.
I would-
See, I disagree.
I
Because
wouldn't
there's
be.
no
I
other
wouldn't be.
team that wants
I wouldn't
him.
be surprised if you think there aren't teams that would take him as a backup point guard.
Not with that contract.
True, very true. Reggie Bullock could be up because he does have some value as a guy coming off the bench hitting threes. John Lure is barely up.
He has no trade value whatsoever.
John Lure is a ghost.
That dude is going to be the next Josh Smith. Only we don't.
Listen, yeah, John go overseas. You'll probably be happy.
He'll just be nowhere close to the talent level of Josh Smith.
You know, he only made
Ish could.
over the course of his contract. He only made $12 million less than Josh Smith.
That's incredible.
Ish could, but I don't.
I'd
want
rather have
I
Josh
don't want
Smith.
Ish to go.
Oh, me too.
You want Ish to go?
I said I don't want Ish to go, but I feel like he has
You
trade
think?
value.
Okay, who's
There are
so?
teams that
Ish
would take
Smith
Ish
is
Smith.
your most likely Piston to be dealt.
Phoenix would take Ish Smith right
Oh,
now.
yeah. So are you saying Ish Smith?
Yeah.
Joey.
I still think it's Reggie Jackson. I would take
Most
Reggie.
likely?
Yeah, because
Not saying
There,
that we
in the
want
back of my
him.
head, there's
Dealing-
also there are teams that would love to take.
I'm with
If Reggie
Malik.
went to a new team and had a backup role, he would play out of his mind.
Have you guys seen Reggie Jackson trying to guard Cameron Payne?
That's
on
not the
point
point.
guard?
That's
I
not the
would
point.
I would trade Reggie for a bag of chips.
Why
It doesn't matter.
A team wouldn't even offer you a bag of chips for him right now.
I think somebody would. Somebody
Not barbecue.
that's looking for a playoff push or something,
Exactly.
I think would take a
You
backup
put
point
you
guard.
put Reggie on a playoff team going into the playoffs as a backup point guard, he will shine.
You guys want my honest opinion? I think you guys are delusional. I don't think there's a team out there that would trade for Reggie Jackson without
Listen,
getting without getting the Pistons' first round pick, or future first round pick, or one of their young core.
You have to realize NBA executives don't think like fans. Even things that seem obvious to us, NBA executives think that's dumb.
Hey man, I hope I'm wrong. Don't get me wrong, but I think you guys are
manager. I'm thinking from the general manager executive standpoint right now. You've seen what Reggie Jackson can do as a backup on a good team.
Yeah, that was before his knee issues. Now he can't move and can't stay in front of Cameron Payne. I will keep bringing his name up because he's not even in the NBA. That dude plays overseas now.
I also don't think that Reggie Jackson is going to be dealt like one for one. He's obviously going to have.
He's part of a
He's obviously going to have to be packaged, and I think that's why they're going to do it. Is because they're going to want him out, and they're going to have to bite the bullet and package somebody else with him.
I'm telling you,
to get a deal done.
He would raise his play if they put him on a playoff team. Out of nowhere, people would be like, "What? Where has Reggie Jackson gone? And who is this man?"
Maybe. I just don't.
That's just my hopeful thinking, though. Too.
Yeah, I think you guys are being very hopeful, but I'll say the most likely is Reggie Bullock because it's in today's NBA 3-point shooting is the most valuable. He's an okay defender on the perimeter. I think there's a very slim possibility a team offers the Pistons like a protected first round pick, and they should 100% jump on that as quick as possible.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Let's go into NBA midseason awards. We are at the midpoint right now. We have about 7-ish minutes left in the show, so we're going to do kind of like some quick fire here. I'm going to give you my coach of the year first. I'm going to go to Malik, then we're going to go to Joey, and then we'll kind of keep making the rounds. Alrighty? Coach of the year. My coach of the year so far is Mike Malone of the Denver Nuggets. My runner-up is Kenny Atkinson, tied with Mike Budenholzer. Malik.
My 1-2, it's hard for me to separate them. I was going with either Mike Malone or Mike Budenholzer.
Remember when you doubted Mike Budenholzer preseason and the Bucks?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. I still think when they make the playoffs, they won't do much, but he's doing a hell of a job right now. He's the reason why that team is playing so well.
Gotcha, Joe.
But I'm gonna go with Mike Malone because people expected Denver to be maybe they expected Denver to take the playoff step this year. But nobody expected them to be playing at this high of a level, so I got to go Mike Malone.
Yeah, I would say Mike Malone as well. My runner-up would probably be Nick Nurse, actually, for the way that he's turned that team around. Like, nobody really knew what they were getting. Obviously, Kawhi Leonard's one of the best players in the league, but you didn't know how the chemistry was all going to work out. And Pascal Siakam has elevated his play tremendously. Serge Ibaka has looked back to a former version of himself. Another, not really a runner-up, but just an outlier that I want to say I think has done a good job is Rick Carlisle, that Dallas has kind of been in and out of the playoff spot for a team that I don't think is really all that talented overall.
Rookie of the year, we really don't even need to discuss this.
It's a sweep.
Luka Doncic. Yeah. We're good. Luka?
If the Suns were better,
DeAndre Ayton would be in the conversation.
Ayton would be in the conversation, but the problem is also that Doncic gets all the buzz. So, yeah.
So, Luka.
Yeah.
Okay. Sixth man of the
Trae
year.
Young.
Sixth man of the year. I'm happy to say this one. Spencer Dinwiddie, the stash, Brooklyn. Malik.
Dinwiddie, yeah.
I'm happy to say this.
His play in the clutch has been ridiculously surprising. He shows up.
Speaking of playing in the clutch, mine is Derrick Rose. And with a runner-up of Julius Randle.
But hasn't Derrick been starting recently?
I mean, that's what Lou Williams did last year, and that's what I argued last year about Lou Williams, that he didn't deserve it, but you guys chose otherwise. So this
Derrick
year
might be an all-star.
So this year, Derrick
brings
Rose.
so much joy to me.
All right, this one's actually
But yes, he's started quite a bit.
Okay. This one's a really tough one for me. Defensive player of the year. I went back and forth. I almost gave it to Paul George because of how good OKC's defense has been. Perimeter players don't usually win it. I ended up going back to Utah. Rudy Gobert.
Mm.
I think he's just the best defensive player in the NBA.
Yikes. Hot take alert.
Malik.
I'm going to be 100% honest. I don't know who's tops in blocks or steals.
Well, just go with your heart.
I just know who some of the top defenders are. I know Kawhi is still great. I know Anthony Davis is still great. I was on the big Kawhi MVP train early in the season, so I'm just going to go Kawhi Leonard.
I'm going Paul George. I was going to do Anthony Davis, but he's been hurt lately. I'm going with Paul George. I think he's playing really good on both sides of the ball.
I'm excited to hear your guys' opinion on this next one, too. Most improved player.
This one's easy for me, actually. Pascal Siakam.
That's what I'm doing, too. I got Pascal Siakam. I think it's
He's been playing out of his mind. And for a guy that barely got any time in his previous runs.
Did you see, too, at the end of, I can't remember who they were playing. Toronto was playing, I think it was Dallas. They put Pascal Siakam in an ISO to end the game, and he had a lefty floater off glass at the buzzer. Who would have thought Pascal Siakam would be getting the Kawhi Leonard ISO at the end of a game,
Right.
you know? Who you got, Malik?
It's between D'Angelo Russell and Kyle Kuzma for me. I can't choose.
I can
one.
see D'Angelo. Kuz too, but
the level that Kuzma is playing right now with LeBron out,
that's true.
it's insane. I thought D'Angelo had pretty much shown us everything he had, and he's showing
He's
why
stepping
he
up
was
as
a
a
top
leader
pick.
too.
See, that's where I don't give him the nod necessarily because we've seen like signs of it, but he's stringing them together a lot more frequently lately, I think.
All right, my MVP, James Harden, just barely over Giannis.
This is just for midseason, right?
Midseason right now. So as of right now, it's James Harden. He has just been on an absolute tear.
Historic tear.
And yes, a historic tear over the last month and a half, almost 2 months now. Malik, what you got?
By the end of the season, I'm pretty sure I'm going to choose James because I don't think he's going to stop this. Midseason awards, I'm going Giannis.
Okay.
27, 12, and 5. He's been consistent from the beginning. James just started this tear last month. So I can't give him the midseason awards.
Fair enough.
Because Giannis has just been consistently dominant, and I'll have to give it to him.
I don't know. I was close to giving it to James. Obviously, he's carried that team. I still feel like teams are going to figure him out. The Sixers kind of did last night, and
everybody has an off night,
right? But I think he's going to wear down a little bit pretty soon here. I like a guy that plays both sides of the ball, so I'm going to go again with Paul George
as MVP.
Yes,
Joe.
He plays both sides of the ball.
Come on,
super well. He's having super good numbers this season.
Joe, he's not MVP.
I think he's MVP.
First of all, when it comes to predicting or saying who your awards are, first of all, the NBA is not going to give the Defensive Player of the Year and the MVP the ball.
But I'm just saying who I would pick.
Glad you're not making the choice.
His value to the Thunder has been ridiculous this year.
Yeah, and he gets overlooked because he's with the Thunder, and he's side by side with Russell Westbrook.
I still think it's because he doesn't have to be the guy.
Yeah,
he's shining.
But he is the guy by not being the guy.
Well,
wise words.
Wise words
from Joey.
From not so wise.
Joey's hot take of the week. We didn't even have to ask him for one.
That's the show this week. Views from the Sideline. It's January 22nd. We'll see you guys next week. Super Bowl preview. See y'all next time.
Bye.
Be the guy by not being the guy. Joey Tissick.